7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Betsy's in trouble right now. He's gonna get taken down. Betsy goes down for first blood. Yankos has the fear. Jaws of the Beast to follow it up. Knocks himself onto the other side. Bevavin, double kill, and that's a dirty start for H2K. CB3, Trash is gonna get popped. Now they're gonna go right in onto Wonder, so as keeping him in the cage. The Hex Tech ultimatum. The ultimatum is death. Fnatic 3-0 up. Down to 1500. Is it gonna get stolen away? Xerxes plays the hero.
Well, Ignite just pops Heat ulti. Speaking of ultis, Trashy wanders right into it, and Senkos turns into a bevy of Misfits members. They take him down, and back to business on Baron.
Hello Internet, did you miss us? Because we certainly missed you. After a week off for IM Katowice, we are back in Berlin for week 6 of the European LCS Spring Split. This week is kicking off with a bang as we bring you 2 best-of-3s featuring 2 teams who recently tested their mettle on the international stage. Earlier, we saw the Misfits setting up on stage, ready to go. Kakao always smiley and always hungry for that win. Hello, everybody. I am Eve, your Shock supporter, joined here at the analyst desk by James Stress O'Leary, as well as Mitch Grippo Voorspools. Are we all feeling rested?
You, Shocks.
You missed me. I mitched you.
Oh, that's...
Is that really how we're starting?
I'm done missing you.
All right. We all missed you, we all missed each other, and we're all rested and ready to go. We saw a couple of things of IM. We'll hear more about that, but I'm glad that we get to see our teams again here on this stage.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's been a nice, week of seeing what Europe had to offer internationally. Let's get back to our European meta here, back on European soil.
And this is where we can just imagine that Europe's all great and IM never happened. Then we just keep on pretending, right?
Or pretend they won. Look at the trophies like right. No, they didn't. Well, last week we did saw our first international tournament of the year. As we said already, as teams from around the globe, they descended on Katowice for IM. And for more on what went down, here's Pyra.
Dziękuję, Shocks, and I'm sorry, Mitch, I gotta give you the full rundown. Devin Pyrotechnics Young here to get you guys up to speed on what happened at last week's League of Legends action at IEM Katowice. The Unicorns, let's start with them. They traveled to Poland with their horns at the ready. They took out Kongdu Monster on day 1, but honestly, it was all downhill from there. They continued to start slow, and it just wasn't enough against the likes of the Flash Wolves and G2 Esports. Unfortunately for the Unicorns, they were swept by both eventual finalists, and they went home with more questions than they had answers. Now, all right, I'm being a little sad. It wasn't looking all bad for Europe once the playoff bracket was filled out. 1 EU LCS team in each semifinal. That's a good thing for us, right? Right? Oh boy. Okay, let's start with H2K. Europe's Knights in Armor proved that they were hard to kill in Katowice. It was a real tough tournament, and in the semifinals, they kept it close, managing to draw out games against the Flash Wolves, but just couldn't pull it off in the end, falling 2-1 on the series. H2K are the darlings of Poland, and it was an emotional tournament for Yankos in particular, but no one can accuse them of not playing their hearts out. But perhaps the best chance we had all tournament was, of course, the domestically dominating Kings of Europe, G2 Esports. Their tournament started off in a very difficult fashion against the Flash Wolves, but they conquered their international demons, beating Kongdu Monster in the qualifying round and Rox Tigers in a long semifinal set. Perkz even earned the MVP award, and G2 rolled into the finals with some confidence. But nope. The Flash Wolves looked dominant throughout, only stumbling once against H2K for an otherwise perfect tournament run. Few teams looked close to beating them over the course of 4 days of competition, and it was a deserving victory for the LMS powerhouse. Now, that was last week. Let's get back to Berlin. Let's head over to the analyst desk as the journey to the EU LCS Spring Finals continues.
Indeed, very cool breakdown there, and we saw it all happen and we saw it all play out, but we're going to get back to the European LCS and going to give you a reminder of how groups A and B currently stand. G2, as said, domestically absolute powerhouse, is still undefeated at the top of the tables in Group A, and on the other side, Unicorns and H2K, they close out in Group B. They are very close together there.
Yeah, and you know, I may have forgotten basic geography earlier, but at least these standings are a lot more simple to understand. G2, the undisputed team at the top. They've beaten the Unicorns of Love 4 times over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, true.
Meanwhile, at the bottom side of the standings, Giants, Vitality, Roccat, Origin, all still struggling. They've got big weeks ahead.
Yeah, and super close between these volunteer teams, so that's going to be super exciting in the next few weeks when they play each other again, because there's only one game separating them from potential relegation.
Yeah, that word, it's getting closer and closer. And the close battle between the Unicorns of Love and H2K will get spicier today as the teams take to the Rift. Misfits, UOL, H2K, Fnatic today, and Crepa also. The rest of the week, all very exciting.
I'm loving these matchups, especially today. They're super close, both 5-1 in the first match. Then you have H2K, who went super ham at IEM, and the Fnatic, who went not so ham. Definitely not at IEM. Then we look at G2 looking for redemption. They have options. How are they going to do? How distraught are they? Like, so many questions we have, and we finally get answers.
And on top of that, we're playing on patch 7.4.
Yep.
Not that drastic of a changes there, so I don't think that will influence a whole lot, but we will see. But first up tonight, it is a clash of styles. The Unicorns of Love versus Misfits. And when we look at Misfits, they have had an incredibly impressive run the last couple of weeks. They were a challenger team some months ago, and they have grown so fast and so steadily. I would even say they are the second best team in the league. Yes, no?
I mean, you can definitely make that statement. Whether everybody will agree with it is different, but they're up there in the top 4 for sure, and they have been growing a lot, especially in the mid to late game. Misfits have been a joy to watch, especially around Baron setups. You can tell that the coaching has helped them improve from where they were in week 1 to where they are in week 5, and hopefully even more after a week break here in week 6, because they're just so methodical when it comes to breaking down and kind of setting up these objectives in the late game. Of course, that follows their very passive style in the early game, which is quite the clash with the Unicorns.
Exactly, and you can see the stats on your screen. Unicorns are ranked first for combined kills per minute. Now, this takes kills and deaths, so it's kind of a measure of activity when it comes to kills. You can see Unicorns rank 1 of everybody in the league. That's because of their team fighting, skirmish-based, fight-heavy style. Misfits, the opposite end of the table. 0.53, very much lower. Their focus is a lot more around objective play, cleaner, more passive play when you're taking towers rather than killing opponents.
Yeah, and the one caveat we have to make with this clash of styles is that while Misfits was undefeated in the last few weeks, they went 6-0. They played it really slow. It was against slightly weaker teams, the Vitality, Splice, and the like. Now, in the next few weeks, obviously, they're going to be playing against H2K, G2, the Unicorns. That will be the true final test, and after that, we can confidently say whether they are top 2, top 3, or top 4.
And we'll see if that playstyle plays out as we see some footage from their match versus Fnatic here. On the other side, the Unicorns of Love, their opponents, it could very well be a defining match for them. And I say that because I feel like their honeymoon is on the brink of being over. They were undefeated in Group B, then they lost to G2 right before Katowice. They honestly bombed out of Katowice on the international stage completely, and it went kind of undetected. But this could be a defining match.
And a lot of this is because of the strength we saw from Unicorns early on. You know, their picks were working very well in the jungle. They were playing the Ivern before most teams. Now, Cersei's picks like the Ivern have started feeling a bit of nerfs, and now that we're in a Graves, Lee Sin meta that he's not quite up to speed on, it means we have things like his games against Kasa at IEM, where he got exposed. Kasa ran wild over him, and Cersei now needs to kind of sort that out.
He definitely needs to see if he can bounce back. Now, the Unicorns have earned themselves some credit this season, whereas in past seasons, it was very often like, was it Chaos, was it Clown Fiesta? No, Unicorns were playing distinctly set style. They chose to do so. They had other options. They understand the macro. They just elected to go for this like very active, very teamfight oriented style, and it was working to honestly great success for them, only following really to G2 Esports. Now, can they pull it through to the end? Our team's learning to counter them. Those are the things we need to watch in the next few weeks.
And because they've built up some credit, even if they lose here today, it's not all done for them. Like,
it depends on their morale. If they can really harness that culture, because they seem to be like all getting along, you know, they're pink power ponies of love. Like Roman's always shirtless. Like somehow that should buy them at least
awesome
a few
stuff.
big. Yeah, definitely awesome. Definitely jelly of the gains there.
All right, we're here. I gotta get into the game. So quick predictions: Misfits or Unicorns of Love, and with what score?
I think Unicorns 2-1. I think Kakao's gonna have like one great game on Lee Sin that'll get Misfits so far ahead. Unicorns won't fight back, but 2-1. I think it's gonna be a close series.
Oh.
It's super hard to call, especially
It always is, yada, yada.
Since the yada yada yada. Well, then don't ask the question. You know.
I'm sorry, she's getting
I would before IEM I would have said like unicorns 2-1 as well. Right now I'm actually not sure, but I'll just stick with the 2-1.
Okay.
But I wouldn't definitely not be surprised if Misfits, especially Methodical in the late game, would take it home as well.
All right, we will see what happens and if the unicorns have cashed that reality check that they got over at IEM. Let's send it over to our casters for game 1.
Thank you very much, Sharks. Welcome to the Caster Desk. I'm Trevor Quickshot Henry, joined by Martin Deficio Lunga as Misfits about to tackle Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, and unlike Crepper, who's so uncertain in his own predictions, we are pretty confident about this cast and this game here, because it's going to be awesome.
It absolutely is. Let's meet the players in case you forgot. It's been a week since you've seen them on the stage. On the blue side, it is Misfits. Let's start with a roll call. In the top, Alfari, Kakao in the jungle, Power of Evil in the mid lane, Hansama 80 carry, Ignar the support, and their coach, Daku.
Now, facing the Misfits today, we have the Unicorns of Love returning from IEM, of course, where sadly for them, they didn't really manage to do a whole lot, but Visichachi is still in the top lane, Xerxes in the jungle, Exile mid lane, Samax, of course, as the AD carry, Hillisang down there in the bot lane with him as support, and Sheepy, funny enough, is still the coach.
Yeah, Deficio, already out the gates, I've made a mistake. It's blue side for Misfits.
See, this is why I need a new play-by-play. Get Pyro down
we
here.
need to get a new guy and get a new one in here. Someone with some recent international experience. Unicorns of Love, they won the coin toss, all right? It's still cross-group play. They get side choice games 1 and 3. They picked blue side. Not really a surprise, although for UOL, they're one of the teams that did pick red side a lot at the beginning of the split.
But that was also because they wanted to be like the standout guys who'd be like, leave Ringa open, we have Iron counters and so on. That is kind of gone now. Like, you don't have to necessarily ban all those OPs because they're not actually that OP anymore, except for maybe LeBlanc. So I think now having blue side first pick makes a lot of sense for them. But I actually think both sides have value, and I don't think it's clear-cut like this side is better than the other.
All right, we'll find out exactly what they decide to prioritize. It is, of course, patch 7.4 here in Europe, and out the gates, Rengar and Rumble taken off the table.
Yeah, and 7.4 here. It's not really a huge patch, but there were some top lane changes I find interesting. I think Maokai is going to go down quite a bit, like dropping a full tier down with nerfs to his laning phase. Renekton, though, with Black Cleaver buff, is coming, you know, back into the meta a little bit more. We saw him already beforehand. Now we're probably going to see him even more. And then Shen in Europe is just like the S tier top for sure. But Camille is still very strong as well. Should still be considered a ban-worthy champion. No surprise so far except for Zillion, but on blue side you can target ban. So that's why I'm saying it's not really that huge of like a surprise. It's more like, hey, it's a pocket pick you guys have, get rid of it.
All right, so the trick question then, Deficio, if you were in Unicorn's shoes, what would you first pick? Now that we're getting closer to this.
Virus, baby.
All right, Varus, Draven taken off the table here by UOL, so some very specific target bans.
Yeah, very specific target bans explaining why they wanted blue side. Now, Varus is the clear-cut #1 AD carry. Jhin got a small nerf on 7.4. Varus was untouched for some reason. No one actually knows why, seeing as he's been the best AD carry for quite a while. So that's going to get locked in instantly. There we go. And then Misfits would normally respond with Jhin. But Ashe is also climbing up the ranks a little bit because of Jin's small nerf. So there are definitely different AD carries to play, but Jhin is still the standard.
And we're seeing the power of that Ashe Karma lane around the world. IEM was looking very good, seeing it in LCK as well.
Yeah, it's actually only Europe who kind of ditched Ashe before because of lethality AD carries, and they were like always being picked and rarely getting actually banned out enough. And in LCK and IEM, again, we saw a lot of Ashe, so I still think it's a strong pick, but we talked about the Jhin, and of course, our best friend in the bot lane.
Yeah, one of the things that you and I were just touching on before picks and bans,
Tom Kench from Unicorns, just putting it in there. Keep saying what you say.
Players slow to adapt to the meta patches at times. You know, you can argue the power of that Ashe versus Jhin. All right, you mentioned Tom Kench. What else would Unicorns Love lock in as their next rotation? Because they can match that duo.
Well, seeing as Shen is still available, they can go for it early. Yes, it gives Misfits the chance to counter it, but it's really hard to kind of really shut down a Shen when it comes to laning phase. So glad to see I got that one correct. No one remembers the time Kench. It's the art of casting. You only repeat when you're right. Remember I said Varus and Shen? Yeah.
You did.
You guys remember.
You nailed it. Varus and Shen, you talked about Jhin as well.
Hey.
Only Ashe is the one that
Yeah. You guys.
through the
Oh,
questions.
is that Renekton?
Shocking.
Wow.
Shocking. It's almost like you know this game, Deficio. That's why you are talking now and I am not. Right, what are they going to target ban now for Misfits and Unicorns? Obviously, the world is your oyster in Phase 2.
Yeah, most likely a lot of mid laners going to get removed because it's like they matched everything, top versus top, support versus support, and AD carry versus AD carry. So there's a lot of freedom now in these bans, but you want to look at mid laners more than probably junglers in this case here. Like, we've seen Syndra a lot, especially at IEM. She was fantastic when Mabel played her. She gets removed now because she's still a fairly safe blind pick. And Misfits are kind of looking for, like, do they have to take the jungler first? I would look at Graves right here. I think he's fantastic. But then, of course, you lock yourself into playing an AP mid laner, because otherwise you have too much physical damage. But I still think Graves is such a high-tier jungle pick that he should be considered as a first pick in the second phase here.
So many options. For Xerxes, on the other hand, his jungle pool has been dwindling in recent patches. You know, the power of that Ivern falling by the wayside, some nerfs, and some people learning to play around Xerxes. So I want to keep my eyes on how well he performs in game, because this is a guy that has been struggling for a few weeks from LCS to IEM.
I'm just surprised he hasn't shown Graves yet. He played it in Turkey before he joined the Unicorns of Love. I know he can play that champion, but he's kind of just left it down there in the dirt when every other jungler has picked it up as a very, very valuable pick. So if Misfits now wants to save the mid lane pick for last, then Graves is a very good and safe jungle pick that doesn't really have any extreme hard counters. It seems like they just want to get the most valuable mid laner in their mind. Orianna is, of course, a Power Evo special. Has been, ever since he, funny enough, played for the Unicorns of Love back in early Season 5.
Long time ago, Unicorns of Love actually had a very spicy tweet today saying, come see the new sexy German exile who replaced the old German Power of Love. And
so no sexy for Power Evo here,
no,
only
unfortunately
for
not.
exile.
Unfortunately not. That's where Unicorns are ranking the sexy back.
Okay.
4-1 is Power of Evil's Orianna this split. Pretty good win ratio, had some good games. He'll be going up against Exile's Jace in the mid lane.
Ooh, Unicorns, that's a lot of physical damage coming in here. You can't really get an AP jungler because Rumble is banned. Now, Xerxes is a man who's known for a lot of different jungle picks. Just not always the meta ones, which is where he's different. This is the one we talked about. Come on, do it, man. I want to see your Graves. It was good in Turkey. Thank you very much.
Finally, we get to see a champion that he played a lot in the Turkish league. And it's a great meta champ as well, which is not something I normally say with Xerxes in the jungle.
Well, he made the Iron meta, technically, and then it was great. But again, a lot of physical damage on the side of Unicorns. It will reduce the effectiveness of lethality when the enemy team can very easily get like Ninja Tappy and early armor. So that might be a problem for them. Obviously, Elise could have been an AP choice, but that's another jungler we don't see Xerxes really use. Still, Unicorns of Love have a lot of damage in the mid game.
Does it feel like the Unicorns team comp, with the exception of being primarily AD, is fairly well-rounded? They've got good poke, they've got frontline, they've got disengage.
Comp, yeah.
Misfits, on the other hand, a little bit of a mix and match. They've got pick power, they've got some split push power. What is it Misfits are looking to do?
Well, I think Misfits have very strong lanes and an early game jungler who can gank very effective in Elise. So I think Misfits have a lot of ways to kind of snowball lanes, especially top lane with the Renekton. When you have Renekton in there, you play around that lane. And diving with Elise Renekton, that is something we used to see way back in the day, and it's very, very effective.
No, those cocoons, they really count.
Yeah, exactly.
I can only hope to get one of those this particular game.
I think you will get one. Just one. You will get one, and I want to hear you say it, but I think this is going to be super explosive because we have the Renekton picking top with Elise, and then we have this mid-game siege comp from Unicorns of Love.
And not only is it Renekton top, it's Alphari's Renekton in the top lane, one of the most hype top laners here in the European LCS.
Against Chachi.
I know, I can't wait.
I love it.
Renekton into Shen, it is going to be a carry versus tank. We're all set for game one between Misfits and the Unicorns of Love. Who'll come out on top?
In comes Daisy, it's down to 1,500. Is it gonna get stolen away? Xerxes plays the hero.
Welcome back to Misfits versus Unicorns. This is to make it official. Who is the second best team in Europe right now?
Big statement. What about H2K?
I'm going by standings.
Okay.
That's why I said official. Being technically correct is the best kind of correct.
It is. I get it. You are correct in that sense. And honestly, we've had 4 really, really, really competitive teams in Europe in G2, Unicorns, Misfits, and H2K. So I'm just so happy we get to see some of these teams now play each other. Because with the Misfits, while they are now... Oh, let's actually see if Ignar is facing anything. And then we can talk about their win record.
Taunt.
No.
Well, you got to get past the passive first, and then you've got to land the CC.
All right, he's staying back. He's a smart guy. Oh, they might actually step into him.
Where's the passive? There we go. Chasing forward, and the root misses. Hillisang, that was point blank, buddy.
Yeah, he didn't. Oh, okay. Well, Ignite walked out. That was easy for him to get out. But yeah, Misfits. Last 3 weeks, Trevor, 6-0. They look clean. They look fantastic. We love the Baron setups. We always talk about it. But it was against, of course, not Origin. I was about to say Origin, but it was against like Vitality. It was against Splice. You know, teams that haven't been performing that well this split. They play against Unicorns today. They play against H2K next week. Those are the two big games for them now to really show if they are up there as potentially the second best team in Europe. It all starts right now.
I mean, you take them both down, then there's no more doubts, right?
No, because then you go for G2 and you're going to play them later, of course, towards the end of the regular season, and that's your chance to maybe take number one.
Yeah, big chances here for Misfits to cement themselves. Unicorns have had a fantastic first half of the split. H2K continue to impress most of the time.
Yeah.
And then just a few mistakes make us facepalm heavily. But let's not talk about them for now because it's about Unicorns of Love, who they have to show more than they did at IEM.
100%. Obviously, they played against Flash Wolves, who ended up winning the whole tournament. Lost 2-0. Then played against G2, lost 2-0 again. So it's not like they lost to bad teams. Like, we just have to say that. Like, they lost to the two teams who made it all the way to the final. But yeah, we wanted to see a bit more from them. I think, against Xerxes was a guy we looked at a lot, being like, there's some issues here. Like, his impact on Rengar and Kha'Zix is not as high as what we see, like, on Ivern. But I'm glad to see that Unicorns have now adopted the IEM meta, where Graves was just picked again and again and again by Kasa. Yeah. And Kasa, like, destroyed Xerxes in this matchup. And now Xerxes is like, yeah, it's time for me to also pick up probably the strongest / second strongest jungler in the current meta.
We'll see what he can do with it. Kakao moving up, actually walking over a Unicorns of Love ward, so gonna get spots out, a little bit of information. Looking through the rest of the lanes, and Alphari pushing into Vizicachi Shin. That's no surprise. That's something Alphari's gonna be able to do a lot of. And obviously if Kakao is shadowing him, hanging around, there's some potential for outplay here.
I mean, we will at some point in this game see Kakao go to top lane and try and dive against Chachi. Like, when you play against globals, you want to attack them. You don't want to just suddenly make a play on the bottom side and then they actually use that global and get a numbers advantage. So Kakao should try and keep Vizicachi down, get that top lane tower, which funny enough here in Europe, when it comes to like first tower that dies, it's top lane and bot lane tower that dies the most. But it's blue side who takes the towers. It's not red side. Only in 8% of the games has the blue side tier 1 top tower actually died first.
Why is that, Fisher? What do you attribute?
I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to how easy it is to set up a dive on blue side against red side, especially top lane. Hansama taking a lot of damage.
So much damage from Unicorns of Love. Does not use any of his summoner spells, has a couple of cookies to eat if he wants to, though.
See, first time when Hillsang missed was a warning shot.
Okay.
Now he knows how Ignite is juking, even though it wasn't Ignite, it was Hansama, but that's mind games. He's like, yeah, I see you, I see you. I know you guys are doing the same, and then boom, he hits him.
We're off to a good start today, aren't we, Fisher?
It's been a great first 4 minutes
Gotta shake off the
game.
rust, you know? 1 week without casting.
You actually feel like you kind of forget how to cast after a week.
It is quite tough. Like, look at this. Hillsang taking a lot of damage. Malzahar still relevant, it seems. But I want to circle back to that discussion we had a minute or two around Xerxes and this Graves, because Xerxes on Ivern, it is his most played champion, 6 games. This split has got phenomenal statistics. He has a KDA that's like over 30. He's got a great goal difference at 15.
30.1, over 30.
It still counts.
You're selling it well.
Kills plus assists at 15 minutes on Ivern is 4.5. Now, when you look at this graphic, guys, the numbers in the brackets below is what Xerxes' stats are on every other champion.
Well, top lane.
All right, Chachi's gonna die.
Hey!
Easy combo.
You have a Renekton lane. You go to the Renekton lane, and you kill people.
I was mid-story, Kakao. That's really rude.
Anyway, as you were saying, Ivern on Xerxes, fantastic. We normally don't like talking about KDA, because it's not the coolest stat in the world. But when a guy has 30 as his KDA in 6 games in Europe, then it's absolutely insane. His average KDA being 4.5 on every other pick then really shows the difference for him. And we want to see what he can do. See what else can happen right now. Someone just died. Because I was mid-story and their servers respect me, they didn't want to show it.
We'll jump back onto this game. Hans Sama and Ignar straight up dunking Samix. Not even a summoner spell blown. Oh, so that's spicy indeed.
Look at this also, Storm Raiders on Samix. That is not something I see on Varus, like, ever. Deathfire touch is normally superior with the extra damage coming when you do land the poke. So I'm not sure if that was a misclick or if it is just something he is testing out. And maybe someone else has tried it around the world and I've just missed it. But definitely not something I see very often. I'm not saying that's why he died, but let's just say that's the reason for now.
We'll blame the Keystone.
Yeah.
All right, here's a replay of...
This is the top lane.
The top lane gank. I mean, this is just Chachi getting caught out.
Yeah.
Double flash.
Really isn't a whole lot there, but we talked about the pressure on top side. Good call from Kakao. He's sitting mid lane now on a control ward, trying to bait Exiles, maybe all in Power of Evil.
Shockwave flashed away from. Just in a solo play. Xerxes was making his way up. The Misfits have already got themselves 1,000 gold lead, 2 kills. They've got strong lanes, and a strong advantage.
Yeah, and this is kind of the same we saw during IEM, where Unicorns actually fell behind early. In almost every game, like, on average, they were over 1,000 gold down. 15 minutes. They only got one first tower in the 5 games they played. And a lot of it started from, like, you know, falling behind in the lanes.
Yeah.
This is definitely a good start from Misfits. And Unicorns is a team that has very, very good team fighting. So they can always get back. He's hiding.
They can, especially with a lot of the tools in their team comp. But they've given their opponents an advantage with a primary, you know, single damage team composition. So if Misfits get an accelerated mid game, get some early armor before Unicorns can punish, that's when things become problematic.
Yeah, you're gonna see Ninja Tappy on a lot of members. You can even see Hansama is building towards it. We saw that earlier today as well in the LCK. If you are against a lot of physical damage, just get it. Because Ninja Tappy is one of the most effective items in the game. And it's kind of stayed that way for quite a while. And the reason, again, it gets extra value is because lethality is obviously that armor penetration. So, this is the dive we talked about.
Dived. Gonna have Spurt's Refuge for a few seconds. The Cocoon into the Fangs. And Kakao resets the aggro. They make it look so easy.
And now, the answer for Unicorns of Love should always be to make a play on the bottom side.
But they're
now
going mid instead. It's Exile that's jumped on. Exhaust is gonna lock him down. And Power of Evil gets another.
So this is actually a really good move now, technically by both teams making the correct move. Like, you see Unicorns respond by going bot lane when 2 members are showing top side. But then Misfits bottom lane is like, yeah, we're not going to be able to defend because we're 2v3. So they leave the bottom lane, roam mid, and then catch out Exile for another kill. So really good move here from Misfits. First to dive top lane, and then look at your minimap. The bot lane, Ignar and Hansama, they've already left because they know they can't defend against the Graves, and they end up getting 2 kills now mid.
While we're in a replay, Hylissang dies as well. Full summoner spells available. Misfits are going to take another tower. It's 10 minutes in to Fishio. Misfits plus, what's that, 2.5, nearly 3,000 gold. This looks like a one-horse race.
I mean, for now, yes. Unicorns of Love, sadly, not able to really dance with Misfits here in the early game. And I just want to, again, give so much credit to Misfits bottom lane here for that move. So many bot lanes just stay under that tower and try and defend it. They get dove, they die. Or they don't, you know, manage to do anything and just end up going back to base. They left that tower, walked mid lane to put pressure so that 2 lanes pushing in, knowing they couldn't defend, and rewarded them 2 kills. Exile obviously didn't expect them to show up. He probably thought they went back to base.
They did not, and Unicorns get punished for it. Down 5 kills, down 2 towers. There's some pressure from Unicorns in the mid lane. And are they going to do the Death Bush? Chill out.
I mean, this is a Unicorn special. Control ward in the mid lane side brush, and then you wait. And you sit and you start fishing. At some point, something will bite. Sucky pot if it's a Rift Scuttler, not what you want. Great if it's a champion, though. Sadly, Misfits...
Not going to fall for it this time. No need to.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, Misfits, they're one of these teams that have visible improvements week to week to week. And individually, they've got good players, and they're showing good macro.
Yes.
They are quickly proving to be a very real threat for these more established teams like H2K, like UOL. And I mean, you can see it here with just fantastic starts.
Again, no bias intended, but they've become one of the funniest teams to cast because they have these players that can make big plays, so you get to scream and go like, whoa, that was insane. And also, they make these really good like rotations. They understand how to, you know, set up Baron, they understand how to move from different lanes with pressure points, so there's something for the color caster as well. Like Misfits right now, they offer something for everyone. If you like kills, yeah, watch their game. Except for that Vitality game where they didn't get a kill for like 29 minutes, but
can we say, no, I won't say it's Vitality's fault. So Misfits though, because they play safe where they need to, they don't have to take risks at times. Alfari, 113 CS on the Giant Crocodile, got himself the Phage and the Tiamat, likely to pick up the Herald buff as well, and yes, there we go.
Oh,
it's huge. I mean, nobody can deal with the Crocodile just yet.
no. No one will touch Alfari in a side lane. But that's obviously not why you pick Shen. So the problem here for Unicorns is they were supposed to make plays on the bottom side using the Shen ulti, while Misfits were supposed to make plays on top side using Elise and Renekton. It's only been Misfits who were able to, you know, make any plays. Chachi,
He got the Grom.
he got it.
Sending a message.
Small victory.
Sending a message.
It is important.
That
but
is 86 gold, closer to closing this 2,000 gold gap.
yeah, very, very positive. Very positive. I like it. Very optimistic.
Got a few of the Love Hurts crew in the audience nodding at me. Thumbs up for that one. You know? 86 gold towards closing it, and Unicorns want more. But looking at the side lane, Samax could get caught out. Where's the CC? Locked down by Cacao. Ignore follows up. Exile throws the hammer down into Ignore. Unicorns are split up. Hilly and Xerxes running from the Crocodile. Ignor's taken down. That's the first for Unicorns of Love. Chachi is burned through with the help of a shockwave. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Misfits.
But in the end here, Unicorns, they lose 2 members. They got some damage on this tower. What else can Misfits get? They have a full minion wave. Walking out for another turret. 4 members around it.
There's no one from UOL to defend.
They're running, but they don't have home guards or anything this early in the game. They're not gonna make it in time, and suddenly, Misfits respond so well. Pushing that mid tower? Nah. Let's fight. And there was double flank. We had TP from Renekton. We had Malzahar from the other side. Great setup.
Yeah, really great setup indeed. There's a fight in the jungle, guys. There's a fight in the jungle, guys. Cacao taken down. Unicorns get one. They turn their attention to Hillisang. He's able to flash away with his life. Jumping to the top lane, though. Hold that thought. Exile's going to get run down.
I didn't say anything.
There we go. Exile's in trouble. Slice goes out. Malefic Visions. Call of the Void. And eaten alive by the crabs.
Yeah, sadly for him, we learned in the jungle that a shotgun does, in fact, beat a spider. This is the engaged mid lane, though. Like, look at this. There's good flank from both Ignore, Cacao, ulti from Ansama to try and create some sort of utility to just lock down 1 or 2 targets, and then TP from Alfari. There's just nowhere to go from Unicorns of Love, or 4 Unicorns of Love, and great response. And this is what happens often when you have the map control, when you've been the proactive team, is that whenever the other team gets to make an aggressive play, like here pushing on the turret, you have the wards in place, you have summoners, you have everything you need to just force a fight.
Yeah.
And like you saw that there were wards behind Unicorns of Love, there was even a Malzahar behind them, and they just said like, we need to get something here. Try and push in this mid tower, but you've already lost the map, and then boom, you get punished.
Punished so hard. Misfits in absolute control. I want to shine a little bit of light on Unicorns of Love, though, because they fell behind early game at IEM a bunch. They had some great team fights despite being down in gold, but it just didn't feel like Unicorns were in their groove at IEM. Now, they also didn't feel like they were in their groove the week before in LCS as well, you know? Starting to slow down the tempo, starting to slow down the ability to win out games. Do you think that's a little overly critical to Fisho?
I mean, we're not going to sit here and call them bad or anything.
No.
They're still a good team.
Yes.
So it is, I think what it is for Unicorns is they started the season having players that performed at a very, very high level. Where a lot of our teams have players that were still kind of catching up, getting rid of all the off-season jitters and everything. And Unicorns just started at a very high level, which is full credit to them, like as a team and Sheepy as a coach. So they used that the first few weeks to pick up a lot of these really strong wins in the Iron pick. We see another Siege mid lane. Ignore is hiding behind. Alfari doesn't have TP this time, so he has to run down, and he's just not able to get there in time.
Can the collapse still happen, though? Ignore can at least block some damage in CC. Alfari's coming from the flanks on the left-hand side. Dash over. Xerxes gonna get locked down. He's only able to flash over the wall. Alfari's rooted in place, but the fourth shot, Hunt Summer finds the kill. Helisang sidestepping, and he uses the boss code to safety. But Unicorns, they get a tower, they lose Xerxes' life.
It's actually insane how little vision Unicorns have on the map. Ignar could just move around in their jungle unnoticed for multiple seconds until Xerxes dashed into the Raptor came and realized, oh my god, there is a Malzahar here, and then he dies. There are 5 wards on the map that I can see right now from the blue team. 0 control wards at the moment on the map from Unicorns. Now, they might have just been cleared out, but even before the fight started, I didn't really see anything. So it's really hard for Unicorns to kind of know what's actually happening.
That's the Unicorns' vision you can see right now.
It's literally just river towards the right side of the map, and that's all they see. And then suddenly, you get collapsed on, you get flanked, you get surprised, because the enemy is hiding behind you.
Yeah, enemy's hiding behind and ready to fire. Misfits are on fire this game.
But back to the point, you know, with Unicorns, like early on peaking very quickly, with the players performing well. The really tough thing is that when you start that well, improving gets slower and slower. You know, you start adding small percentages to your play. It's not as easy, not as quickly to do. I think other teams had an easier time catching up.
Yeah.
And then they get like to the Unicorns level, and now maybe slightly above on some of them. Like Misfits in this game for sure. And also I think just the patches have not been in favor of Unicorns, with some of the nerfs to scaling junglers.
I think that's really important to note, that meta champions, maybe for Xerxes more than anybody else,
yes, 100%.
really starting to hurt him. And Unicorns, of course, they've also had a tough schedule. They played against G2, they're playing against Misfits, they're playing against H2K. These are the toughest tests. Infernal Drake is being started. Shock Blast comes in, it's stolen! It's stolen! Unicorns get it! When Helisang gets weeded away in the river, but objective secured and a tower.
Yeah, it's so huge, honestly, for Unicorns of Love. Getting Infernal Drake and top lane tower, only losing Helisang. There's a minion wave bot lane for Misfits to grab, but they don't have enough members who actually push the tower. Also wave clear from Samox. So Misfits have to realize this Infernal Drake, it's not on their side. There we go.
Yeah.
Swapped it around.
So Cloud for Misfits, Infernal for UOL. Important to note the itemization, which I'll talk about in a second. Exile going ham. He's jumping on Hunt Summer, trying to get the kill. The cocoon save Hunt Summer's life. Stand United delivers Vizichachi. He flashes forward, but doesn't find a taunt. Exile's left for dead, and Cacao will run him down with the spiderlings and the poison. Hunt Summer roots down Vizichachi, and Unicorns of Lav, they thought they found a kill. They might be donating too. Chachi taunts away, continues to run. 250 HP, turns backwards, and is killed by Misfits.
And this is where we see a huge difference from week 1 Unicorns to now. Let's just see this replay first. They steal the dragon, then obviously Helisang dies. And that's basically the replay. So he died, they stole the dragon. Anyway, the play that we saw mid lane there from Exile, I felt like more of those went in favor of Unicorns in the first few weeks. Like, he would get that 1 kill, Chachi would come in, maybe even get a 2nd kill. And these small, scrappy skirmishes they like to force would go in their favor. But now we see more and more teams, the good teams, like again, G2, Flash Rolls, Misfits right now, kind of match it and even beat it. So they don't really fall prey for some of these early fights. Unicorns of Love, though, can still team fight. We said that earlier.
Yes.
Yes, they're 6k gold down, so it's really, really difficult for them to actually win these fights, but that is where they have clawed their way back in games in the past in the UOL CS. Also harder though, because they have so much physical damage as we talked about, and you see some of this armor on the side of Misfits that's just gonna negate a lot of what lethality does, because it is obviously pure like flat armor pen.
Yeah, it really will be tough for Unicorns. Luckily, they can wave clear relatively well. We're just about to hit 20 minutes to Fishgo. And that means Misfits are gonna start doing what they're exceptionally good at. And that is playing around Baron. Setting it up, baiting it. Hold that thought for a second. There we go. Take a look at the graphics on your screen. Oh, I timed that one terribly. Flash away as Samox gets to safety. You can see the numbers on your screen, guys. During weeks 1 to 4, Misfit was dealing damage to Baron. Their opponents dealt a little bit. In week 5, their opponents didn't even touch Baron. That's how good and clean and controlled they were around that objective.
Yeah, basically just means that they gave 0 chances for like any sort of Baron steals. Because they didn't have like a jungler hovering around who jumped in just before it died, got a hit down or anything. No. They actually didn't allow any potential steals. They literally jumped out of the Baron pit, they kill the enemy jungler instantly, they turn around, kill the enemy team as well if they need to, and then they go back and grab it, and this is good engage.
Well, Hylissang's dead. Threw a couple of shots his way. Cocoon going down.
And it's the same problem again. If we turn on Unicorns or Love Vision just for like 5 seconds, they can barely see anything on the map. They have a ward in the bot lane that's useless, one ward in the mid lane, and that is it. So how on earth are you going to play the game when you can't even see the enemy?
You can't. You don't even know what's going on. It's like a bad horror movie. Ignar's going to try zone away. Baron is already going low. It's on 3,000 hit points. What do Misfits do? They're committing to the objective. Chain of corruption is slowly starting to spread. Here comes Chachi. This gets messy. Misfits get Baron. Hunsummer's trying to get away. He cannot, but they get Exile in trade. 1-for-1 so far. Xerxes decides not to engage, and Vizichachi finds himself in a team. Ignar flashes away from the auto, is sniped by Samux. Power of Evil with red buff on, may be able to chase Xerxes down, gets those autos rooted in place. Stranglethorns buys some
Red
time.
buff!
The burn kills him. Hylissang gets away from the Cocoon, and Misfits, it's a little messy, but they get the objective.
They get it because Unicorns didn't know when to move in and stop them, as they couldn't even see the Baron, so they reacted. Obviously, you can say too late, but when you don't have vision, you don't really know what's going on. Ignar here zoning Xerxes, so again, no jungler nearby to steal the Baron. That means Kakao can take it, and it is a tough fight to fight if you are Misfits right now in the Baron pit. They still win it. Massive goal lead, obviously, and they had enough time to take down that objective before all of Unicorns could just collapse on them. Samux actually on full HP, getting the 1 kill in the end, but not really able to properly join the fight.
Starting to see those EU Varus plays, standing on the fringes to shoot TQs over.
Better than
That's
the EU Israel Iceborne Gauntlet plays we've seen a few times, where auto-attacking is illegal. And technically, if you're playing against Ninja Tabi, auto-attacking, you know, it is less effective.
It is. So just use, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. That is like smarter than everyone else.
Smarter than everyone else. That's how Samux got his first kill of the game. It's 4 kills to 16. It's nearly 10,000 gold difference. Misfits, 2 minutes left on Baron, and they're already starting to siege up.
Yeah, and let's compare mid laners right now. One guy has completed 3 full items and very, very effective boots against the enemy comp. The other guy has a Ghost Blade, slightly nerfed on his patch as well, just to add that. And then he's getting towards like 2 other items, but he's not even close. He's not even near a fully second completed item. The difference is so huge between the Orianna and the Jace.
Yeah.
This man is happy because once again his team is showing some really good macro moves.
Yeah, good play from the laning phase.
See, he's nodding as well. He's like, yeah,
mid-game.
I agree with the casters.
Daku, of course, with the headset on, can listen to his team's communication.
And the cast. No,
Well, no, he can't.
Just-
But yeah, he's listening to the comms for his team, talking about the tower. It's been a trade. Misfits have got the bottom inner turret, and
Might
it
be able to
looks
stop.
like Chachi's going to get a lot of damage on the top tower, but he won't be taking it down. And that itemization. Also, by the way, patch 7.4, this is the hot fix version of Edge of Night. So 45-second cooldown. The tooltip will not say that in-game.
Exactly. Do not get fooled in game when you buy it.
Yep.
45 seconds now on the cooldown.
Just to give a little bit more of a window of opportunity, right? Because it was incredibly effective. Can I say that?
Oh yeah, it's obviously insanely strong. Don't think the nerf is enough, especially because I think the biggest problem with the item is the fact that it's 10 seconds you have to shield for. So yes, it's 45-second cooldown now, but if you just time that correctly, it's for 10 seconds. That spell shield is there, and that is really the strongest part of the item. Obviously also the fact the stats are good on it, like lethality, attack damage.
A little bit of MR as well.
A little bit of MR, why not?
Not that it matters this game at all, really.
So if another nerf should happen to it, then you know, maybe reduce it from 10 seconds, the duration of the shield, to maybe, let's say, 8 or 6 seconds or something like that.
Find out in the next episode of League of Legends Patch Notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now, teleport coming down from Chachi. So this is going to be to thwart any Misfits power. The Baron has worn off. And, you know, we have praised Misfits a lot this game. And it's because they've snowballed their lead. They've played effective, they've played clean, and good League of Legends.
Hey, I think we've also been very fair to the Unicorns of Love. We talked about some of the issues they've had and they've shown in this game. Like, we can't really hide it. They're down 10,000 gold.
Yeah.
So 25 minutes into the game, that is what we normally call a stomp. Misfits just showing again fantastic play, and Unicorns, it seems like they need to kind of refine their style here. They got to figure out what is the Unicorns' identity, because what it was in the first few weeks have not been as effective the last 2 weeks. Like, they haven't been able to just get clean into the mid game and then like play these super cool team fighting comps like Katarina, Ivern, and really be successful on them. They've tried, but it hasn't really been that effective. And I want to see how Sheepy and Unicorns react. Game 2 is where we can see the changes. This game is not over yet, but it's looking very bad for them.
Yeah, I mean, Misfits would need to make mistakes for Unicorns to come in. And of course, Unicorns have got a lot of tools in their kit, a lot of armor and wave clear.
And that's the thing, you know, if people were watching like G2 versus Rox Tigers were 10k gold ahead, and then Mickey decided he didn't want to win. He didn't want to get to the final line. He literally just got caught like 5 times. That does happen. Like in Europe, we see these kind of issues, but not so often from the top teams. And that's where, you know, it's looking very good for Misfits.
All right, so 2 minutes to Baron. A little bit short on that taunt there, Chachi. Do you feel like the next objective will be Baron, then look to break it in here for Misfits? Is that the right play?
Yeah.
Baited, play around vision. Don't risk making a mistake fighting without
a
the
reason.
favors being stacked
Sure.
right, in your way.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, don't start over-chasing down mid or anything and then suddenly get caught on the turret. But yes, if you play against Unicorn's comp, there's a lot of wave clear. You know, Graves is the jungler with the best wave clear. Varus is lady carry with currently the best wave clear as well. Zyra even adds value there. So it's very hard without Baron to kind of break into the base.
Yeah.
So yeah, play around Baron. The weakness, or the biggest weakness for Unicorns this game has been the vision. So if you're Misfits, you should feel very confident that you can get that vision control again around Baron. Let's see if we look at the map for a 3rd time with the Unicorns a lot. What can they actually see if we turn on just their vision only? Because it seems to be the same situation where Misfits have full control. You can see in your minimap now, guys, this is what Unicorns can see. They can see mid lane because there's a minion wave, and top lane because of the minion wave, and that is it. Oh, actually, they see Elise on red buff as well.
Yeah,
so,
one little ward.
a blue trinket up there is spotting Cacao. That is it. So right now, they don't really know what's happening in the river. They know Baron is not alive yet. In 30 seconds, they still won't really know what's happening in the river, because if they walk in now to get vision, they face check a Mal Sahar and die. Because it's all about pressure for Misfits now, hiding in the shadows. And if Unicorns ever want to put in a ward, someone will die from the Unicorns of Love. And that's why they have to sit back, push out mid first, and then take that open fight. Or they have to try and like blue trinket into like some crazy Baron steal engage and see if they can win that way.
All right, crazy Baron steal. If that's your only win condition, you know you've got problems. Unicorns of Love.
Well, also crazy Baron fight could also be it.
Touche. Craziness.
Just something crazy.
Something crazy. That's what they gotta do. They're gonna channel that chaos.
So, Baron is alive.
By the way, Misfits had around 7 control wards in their inventory.
Look at Ignar hiding in that brush.
Vision, control, and superiority. Instant peel away by the Misfits the moment UOL move into the river. Visit Chachi continues to put pressure on the bottom lane, and Stand United's available to him.
They're starting ulti here from Hansama to see if they can slow a target down.
2, 3, 4 shots find their targets, but not on the same one. Alfari's gone all the way in with the exhaust. Alfari's down! That's too deep! Unicorns have got some magic on their side. 5 versus 4, and Misfits are peeling away.
Yeah, we said we wanted something crazy here. It was Alfari who went crazy. Dove in way too deep here and ends up dying. Basically, Misfits, correct idea. Start the Baron, disengage when Unicorns show up, but they disengaged too early. They could have waited for Ignar to pick a target and then dive out and actually get some kills. They had 5 flashes before this to use as well. And then they end up over-chasing, and Alfari dives in without his team. So some miscommunication, this backfires, and suddenly Unicorns get a bit of gold.
Yeah, get another tower to their name. That's the 4th of the game for Unicorns. 5 kills to Misfits 16, and all of a sudden, Ignar's on the wrong side of the river.
Yeah, but yeah, Unicorns want to clear out the control wards. There is 5 seconds on Alfari, and he has teleport. So this might be super, super risky from the Unicorns. Ignar again hiding behind them. They don't know he's there.
Unicorns are split. Teleport's coming in. Where's Alfari? Xerxes locked down. He's rooted. He's killed shortly after. The Nethergrass bends, and Vizichachi runs for his life. Somehow, Hilly died as well. Was that just... I don't even think that was a shockwave. Wow.
He just got bursted down. Ignar on Mal Sahar has been getting so much freedom when it comes to finding these flanks. The vision is not there to spot him, and his own movement is obviously very, very good. Full credit to him on this Mal Sahar pick. He's gotten the maximum value out of this. And he started so many fights. But they always pick off one guy first. Look at this guy hiding behind, like a ninja. And I guess Hilly's saying, yeah, we just flopped.
I'm so busy focusing on Xerxes, I didn't even see Hilly getting chopped down in the back. And Misfits punish Unicorns for trying to clear the wards, right? Unicorns were trying to do the right thing, but it was a risky thing because of the timing.
Yeah, here's the thing, like, you opted into taking the mid tower. That delayed you long enough when it came to taking the Baron vision that Alfari respawned. And then obviously Misfits are ready to fight 5v5. And Ignore again managed to snuck in. But I think just like it's really interesting with Unicorns how what they're valued in this game is mid lane control and then just like the side bushes near the mid lane. So they just saw a bit of the river. They've not really valued like their own jungle control or wards until this point. That's why Ignor's been able to sneak in behind them so many times, both on top side and on bottom side. And that goes counter against what we normally see from teams. Like when you're behind, you start warding defensively. So you can see them in your jungle, like, ooh, are they sneaking to another lane? Are they trying to engage a fight? But Unicorns have just been warding like mid and just around mid lane, almost entire game.
Well, Alfari finds himself in a 1-on-2, correction, a 1-on-4. Taunted up, but how much time has he bought for the rest of the squad? Power of Evil, Cacao, Hansama. They're now hammering away and broken open the base. Spider form, skittering attack. Cacao's able to take down a tower, and Misfits backing out. I'm looking at the minimap. Not a lot of vision here for Unicorns once again, as you described, Officio. One lowly control ward. Did not even see Misfits running, escaping from the jungle.
Oh, and obviously we are kind of looking at the same thing over and over because it is a huge part of the game. But at this point now, if you are Unicorns, it is hard to get any vision down because you are so far behind.
Yeah.
So the problem kind of started much earlier. It's still there because now it just gets harder and harder to fix it. And that really is the issue for Unicorns in this game. And I'm sure Sheepy is sitting and watching this backstage, also noting down, especially like how hard it is for his team to actually make plays and avoid getting caught out because people are hiding behind them in the bushes, like Ignore and Ismail Sahar, and then suddenly that's one kill for Misfits.
Well, Misfits are, you know, obviously significantly ahead, but I'm looking at their items and there's a fair amount of armor, but there's not an overwhelming amount of armor on this side. So Unicorns have enough damage still at 33 minutes to burn them down once this Baron wears off and whatnot.
I mean, seeing as it's only Renekton who's a bruiser on this lineup, then yes, you will always have enough damage with like 3 carries, Graves, Jace, and Varus to burst down a squishy target. Like Elise is not building full tank or anything, so there's definitely openings for Unicorns if they catch out one guy from Misfits. But the Ninja type just makes it slightly harder.
Yeah.
And everything just gets slightly harder, and it gets harder and harder and harder the further we get into this game and the further behind they fall. They're getting Last Whispers now, which will be very key for them. Obviously now they also was buffed a bit on this patch. Well, some say buff, some say nerf. Like more armor penetration or bonus armor penetration up to 45% now, was 30 before, but lost some attack damage. So better against tanks, worse against squishes.
There's a fair amount of armor, at least in some of the champions on Misfits, but there you go, Alfari not taking a lot from that piercing arrow. I want to see what it does to a Cacao. Also 10, 15% of his hit points.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Power of Evil, he's sitting on 190 armor at this point here. So flat armor pen is useless against him. It literally just reduces his reduction by a few percentages. It's all about Last Whispers then.
It really is. Hylissang takes 2 shots on the curtain call. Third goes wide, and the fourth will likely be body blocked here. Finally holding the trigger for a few seconds longer. Flash away from Exile. The inhibitor's going to go down. Misfits use a Curtain Call. Curtain Call.
Curtain Call.
They used Jin's ultimate fantastically to zone away the Unicorns of Love.
You sounded like me 3 years ago. I like it.
Kind of went a bit Boston for a second there. Curtain Call. Well, Misfits,
Sean Connery.
Look at that, clean. They take the inhibitor, they get super minions. There was no inherent risk for the Misfits squad.
No, that is very true. Now, the one thing we want to judge when it comes to Misfits is no longer the early game, it's no longer the mid game, it's no longer Barons. It is how fast do they finish their games. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have longer games, specifically. But when you have a 10,000 gold advantage, yeah, Cacao, we
No one saw that. No one saw that.
We all saw it. The entire crowd saw it. They were like, oh, God, this guy. Anyway, so 10k gold lead at 20 minutes. That normally means the game ends pretty quickly. Obviously, they're against quite a lot of wave clear. But this is where Misfits have really slowed down in the late game normally. And they kind of wait for Barons every time before they make any plays. And then when they get Baron, you see some teams in the world, like, you know, SKT, obviously, example of like the best team right now. They can take like Baron and then boom, like 6 towers, game over, bam, that's it, you know, it goes super quick. Misfits is like get Baron, 2 towers and 1 inhib, and then we go back. We wait for another Baron, then we take another Baron, then get another inhib. And it can be a little bit too slow.
Maybe a little bit. Ignor's going to have support soon. Does he decide to use the Nether Grasp? The answer is yes. Shockwave's available. Cocoon as well. Shockwave pulls back Xerxes. He flashes away. Here comes Alfari. Slice and dice and calls the Meek, but doesn't find anyone to lock down. Xerxes locked. The Brambleback helping out here on the side of Misfits. Misfits get themselves a kill, the tankiest member. With 1 minute to Baron, with supers in the bottom lane, slowly making their way.
Yeah, 1 kill here on Chachi, 35 seconds. Can they use the minion wave to get the turret? Cacao is 50% HP, Ignore as well. So they might have to respect that a 1 shock blast and a virus Q will actually kill both these guys.
A lot of damage, and to go back to that, you know, Misfits, how quickly do they finish? It's actually a discussion that triggers a lot of people at times.
Sure.
Because it's a weird debate, isn't it? Hey, they're not winning quickly enough, but they're still winning, right? We'll expand that in a second. Looking at the minimap, Chachi just doesn't have enough damage to kill Ignore before all the support comes in.
Ignore is trying to do the same, like get deep vision, maybe see if we can create a pick in there with the team. And then it's the value of having like Malzahar, even against tanks. You can just like single out one guy, get % damage onto him. Sadly for Alfari, didn't get the kill. Oh, this is actually perfect timing. Elder Drake, and then by the time you kill it, Baron spawns. That means Baron spawns late enough, the other team couldn't start it and trade. So you get the Elder Drake, and you have time to go and actually stop Baron from the enemy team and get both. That is macro.
Yeah.
Of course, probably not intended, but if it was.
Whether it's intended or not, it's fantastic
it wasn't
for
intended.
Misfits.
It wasn't.
Unicorns are able to get some vision in the river, and I use that term extremely loosely. Teleports being channeled here by Vizichachi as Misfits
Why are you TPing there?
already cleared out the vision, anticipating a Baron rush, but maybe that's not the strongest. The flashboard, Hilisangs get rooted, and Alfari's now on the front line. Hilly at least gets the Stranglethorns off before he's killed. Exile splits away from the rest of the team. He's taken down by the Quirtonquall as Vizichachi gets chunked down by the crits. Misfits looking to run him down. He's rooted by a flourish. Alfari slices and dices and dances on the corpses of the Unicorns of Love. It's a 3-for-1 to Misfits.
And we've seen this so many times this game. Misfits sits in the Baron area. They catch one guy from Unicorns, they snowball into more kills, and now Trevor sticking to the average game time, about 38 minutes. They're going for the Nexus.
They are indeed. The Shockwave helps out Alfari and Hunt Summer. Ace the Unicorns of Love. Misfits take down the Nexus turrets, and they defeat Unicorns 1-0.
And it's crazy to think that Misfits at 20 minutes were 10k gold ahead. It actually never felt like Unicorns were even close to beating Misfits. Like, it started with Cacao ganking top lane, then Samax dies 2v2 bot lane. That's a 1k gold advantage in favor of Misfits. They get 2 towers. Boom, 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 snowball, snowball, snowball. They create some good picks around the mid lane when Unicorns try and do something proactive on this mid tower. And just, again, to repeat it, like the biggest story for me this game was just how Unicorns couldn't see anything on the map for 90% of this game. And then how are you going to play aggressive? Because so many people can just move in behind you, like Elise, Malzahar, Renekton, and they can just start fights and catch you.
Malzahar shouldn't be allowed to move in behind you, but
he was spending more time behind Unicorns than in front of them.
The flanking Malzahar is the deadliest. That helped Ignore and Misfits pick up the game 1 victory. Let's send it over to the analyst desk and find out, is the honeymoon period over?
Is the honeymoon over for the Unicorns of Love? I don't know, but it damn well started raining a bit in there, and the Misfits are all to blame for that. We talked about the clash of style, slow, low kill versus hard and fast and a lot of kills, and the Misfits came out with a new strategy. They said, we'll pick early game, we'll play early game.
Yeah, they put some more focus on that, and I mean, that's what Elise means, right? Fisher talked about it a lot during the casts. Elise, Renekton, you go in top lane, you're going to start
Season
diving.
3 all over, you know, where people were still playing Ignite, and a successful dive would mean that the game would be over. Like the top lane experience was done, like have fun playing, becoming a second jungler or something. And they managed to do this in this game as well, and it was nice to see Misfits add an early game flavor, and then refine it still with, like, some people call it slow, but it's just really methodical Baron execution.
And I think that the whole focus of this next couple of minutes is going to be about how Misfits very well utilized the leads that they got. First of all, how they got them, looking at some of the first bloods. And when we look at that replay, you can see up in the top lane, this is kind of a process that's drawn out for quite a while. You could see this coming even from Elise being so far on the map.
Yeah, Vizicachi, he knows at one point Elise could be there. I think this is still a mistake, especially pathing into river to ward when you don't know if you, to avoid exactly that. But again, no hesitation, double flash here. The gap calls are still there on Alfari. Great communication. I think that's what we want to highlight the most, is that this team from Misfit works as a unit, because every time they come under pressure somewhere here as well, Ignar opens up. The one thing we want to highlight is don't channel your piercing arrow when you have voidlings on you and you have flash. Like this can't happen on the side of Unicorns.
And this says it all as well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chachi, you could see the later the game went, some of his players in the game kind of teeping into fights and getting caught out a lot. Unicorns obviously demoralized after game one, but there was so much patient play out of the Misfits in this game that we're very impressed by how they controlled the rest of it.
And there's another replay that really shows how they're moving every piece on the chessboard as the Misfits, whereas in some teams they're still looking to kind of get ahead themselves. Just start by tracking Power of Evil here, get some river vision, important, works with Cacao to steal a buff. He doesn't go for the top dive because Chachi is respecting it right now, so he just safely goes back to mid to push out. Eventually, Cacao and Alfari find Vizicachi again. That prompted a kind of a cross-map play in the bottom lane from the Unicorns on Misfits, but Hansama and Ignar, they smelled it, and then they kind of walked around and then they dealt it. They went to mid, they got a kill, they killed Hillsang again. This is a double turret trade, 2 kill trades for none here. Super methodical playing, and they're just dancing around the Unicorns.
And the Unicorns at times were playing into it. I mean, Xerxes at first was doing the right thing by pushing up, but then ends up getting put out as you were talking about. And one of the difficulties, and Deficio talked about this so much in the cast, was Unicorns not having vision. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, Misfits must place a lot of wards. Misfits on average only rank 7th for control wards and wards placed per minute. Like, that's actually fairly low when you look at a team that is that dominant. But what they do so well is kill wards to reduce vision. They are rank 1 by far. And this is where Unicorns just can't see anything when it comes to these engages.
Yeah, and this happened multiple times during the game where they would just rob you of any vision, and you never know. Like, are they doing it right now? A lot of the strength of this comes from Alfari and his map movements, where they'll have him pressure a lane, then group with the team to kind of build a buffer and really do good vision denial. H2K actually tried this style very often, especially at IEM, where they would not elect to go for side lane with overwhelm them, but they would bunch him with the team, but they didn't have the perfect vision. And for this style to work, you need to remove every single ward around the Nashor area. One ward will screw your strategy. Misfits, they did it expertly, so they never gave Unicorns a window kind of to fight back.
Yeah, a ton of praise for the Misfits, fantastic. And you got to look at the Unicorns of Love. I said that honeymoon comparison, but that is now, IEM didn't go well, 1-4, 0-2 versus G2, then again now versus a team that in their minds and of course in the rankings is lower place than G2, and that they should be able to beat a really hard loss. So where does that leave them?
I think right now for the Unicorns, where it leaves them coming into this next game is I strongly feel they can't just pick up a farming jungler and expect Cacao to sit back on something when there's like an Elise or a Lee Sin. We know that's the play style that he plays. So
well, we asked Cersei to play Graves and he did, though.
Right, we did, but the problem around that is they couldn't play around the lanes and couldn't defend. It's difficult from the draft,
I don't think Xerxes actually did anything wrong. Like when you have a winning lane with Varus Zyra and your AD carry is like, we usually jokingly say trolling, but like when you get hit by Malzar full combo, 4 voidlings, now that they have a delay on spawn, you get hit by Jin W and you die with flash up, and then guess what? Elise and Renekton are going to dive you twice. When you allow that to happen, you can't point the blame at the jungler. That's when the individual laners need to step up.
I agree with that, and I think it's not necessarily just about Xerxes, but playing up against this Misfits feels like a refined week 1 Misfits, where they're killing you in lane, but they're also doing objective control, vision control very well. And I don't think as a team you can afford to sit so far back from the Unicorns and make those types of mistakes.
Well, we will see what happens. Game 2 between Misfits and the Unicorns of Love. We'll be getting into picks and bans right after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Scats are on
Cole,
Care about this one.
I asked before.
I'm gonna eat you up.
But they're going mid instead. It's Exile that's jumped on. Exhaust is going to lock him down. Toughest test. Drake has been started. Shot Blast comes in. It's stolen. It's stolen. Unicorns get it.
Oh, we stole the Drake. Nice.
Yes.
as Vizicachi gets chunked down by the crits. Misfits looking to run him down. He's rooted by a flourish. Alfari slices and dices and dances on the corpses. Misfits take down the Nexus turrets, and they defeat Unicorns 1-0.